Thanks.
Welcome.
So, how did you meet Brody?
I met Brody in Berlin.
Yeah.
He was staying at one of my friends, and we met at a party. and previously we were. You've seen my work by catalog. I gave to my friend one of my book, and then he was interested. So it was a bit party and business.
Great. And then you just basically took him at his word and jumped on a plane?
Yeah. Well, no, during 1 week I was a bit in and out of the idea, but I really needed to get away from Europe and my situation at that moment. Yeah. I needed something different, and it was just like, okay, there's someone. I really wanted to go somewhere, and then Brody arrived.
What's the situation in Europe you had to get away from? Is that something you can talk about?
It was just at the end of a lot of exhibition, and I wanted to have a new space and a new studio. And then I was trying to find something in Berlin, but it didn't work out, and I just needed some change.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I really enjoy every 2 years to move a little, and to be a bit alone also. And it's good for.
It does help to recharge, even a small change, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially after was it a series of exhibitions that you had?
Yeah, like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And the last one was in the museum, the New Contemporary Museum in Brussels,
right.
The Wheels. Well, it was a group exhibition, a lot of group exhibition, but it was, you have to work.
Yeah.
You have deadlines and all the things.
Yeah.
Well, actually here it's also a deadline because there is an exhibition, but you have more time. You are not caught up by all your life. Different settings make you different. So
yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. And so you found that has helped moving here?
Helped?
Yeah, it's broken you out of the situation. It's given you the fresh perspective that you wanted.
Yeah. I'm quite happy about that. Actually, the first month was a bit difficult, of course, because you are like, I don't find my in my studio. I have a lot of materials. I have 3 computers. I have a series of photographic tools, good light. Well, the light I like.
Yeah.
The light I like. Yeah. And here all is different, and so you go back to think other possibilities in your work.
Yeah.
How to do the same without to have the same tool. Actually, it's possible also.
Yeah.
With something more minimal.
So you were previously using quite a bit of technology to put the paintings together?
Yes. Well, in all my work, it's always in and out of the computer, virtual image, and.
So does that mean where you have your, your quite thick impasto paint sort of stuff, was that kind of a computer effect then, or were you? Because with what I've seen you doing here, you have a physical object and then there's actually thick paint on it, and then you were kind of working back from that.
Yeah, actually, it's more. I'm making sometimes some sculpture, or I'm using photography and I paint on it, and then I rephotograph it, and then I repaint that. But a lot of my previous work were all made in 3D with a texture of painting. It was in 3D. It's more on. When you think painting in movement, 3D can be perfect. But when it's about to make a painting, you can use whatever. For the moment, I like to paint on photographies. I quite like the double effect. I mean the image,
Yeah.
the painting, so representation and the medium itself, and this mix
Yeah.
produce a certain effect that I'm fond of for the moment. And yeah, it's a way to mix the two big influence for me, painting and representation.
Yeah. I do quite like the these portrait paintings that you've done, where there's a very strong reference to photographic type reproduction with the painted out elements in them, as opposed to, I suppose, those more abstract ones. And I suppose, I mean, I do like them as well. I didn't mean to say I didn't like them. I like them a lot. But it sort of strikes me that with the those paintings where it's more like these faces, it's just a representation of the paint.
Actually, there is a lot of painters who do that kind of thing to represent painting, but they all have behind this just representation, they say something completely different with that. So, by example, you have Glenn Brown. You make reference to pop culture or ancient art, or well, there is something about appropriation of the art world, and you have other artists also represented. Even Richter made some really close-up, completely blurry of brushstrokes.
Yeah.
But behind the process and behind the fact that I'm showing the medium itself, there is something else who comes up, I think, and I have the impression when in the portrait series, the colored one, there is something really more alive than just an image of the medium. It means that the painting become something really in movement, or something who are really a live phenomenon. For me, that's a characteristic. That's a characteristic particular to of my work. Inside this huge amount of painter who take painting as subject.
So it's almost as though looking at those faces, not that it's a representation of a very gestural impasto mode of painting, but that it's more like it's a representation of some kind of weird paint monster.
Yeah, but that's the last development, because I made a long. It's a long series. It's like I made one, my first one 5 years ago, and so it evolved from a real portrait until now something was going completely wild and a bit violent, or it's more mask, or it's more grotesque.
Yeah.
Actually, I was trying to find a balance between the idea of portrait and abstract, because I have also painting completely abstract.
Yeah.
And wow, it's kind of grotesque.
Yeah. They're not. I mean, yes, they are very serious, but there is also a very playful element to them. And especially, I think when you see them in reproduction, they're very teasing images, because I think you could quite easily pick a segment of your work where in reproduction you would think that it's a detail of a very close-up detail of a larger work, focusing on brush marks, and it wouldn't be until you saw the painting that you realise that there was something different going on. Other works of yours, it makes it kind of apparent. But yeah, I think it seems to me that you actually quite enjoy that. Almost tricky. you know what I mean? Like teasing, the viewers, really. Especially with the reproductions, like you bring him in with a reproduction, and then bam, it's something completely unexpected.
Yeah, this idea of surprise is really important for me, because I think surprise give a good, a nice feeling. I mean, when you are expecting something, it's quite boring. So most of the time, there is always 2 or 3 level, where I'm trying to work on 2 or 3 level to bring up something else from the obvious. There is this first. The image is quite speak to you first, and then you have a lot of small thing around or make it. You have a doubt about the first impression you had, and then you begin to build like really like what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And I like this one. What the hell? I would like to go further in that. But that's all the idea, to paint a bit like that, completely flat and just an illusion. It's part of the trick.